everybody.
560-5589, 560-KKTX. Another busy week for the Corpus Christi Police Department.
Yep.
Now, we've got police brutality.
Police brutality, yeah.
That's some of the comments that I read. Channel 6 posted, well, let me back up. You had a press conference.
I did, yes.
And you addressed the police that went out to arrest the guy that killed 3 people and injured a 10-year-old boy.
Yes.
And that was all caught on dashboard camera.
Yes.
And you
purposely caught on dashboard camera. You know, kind of always look for silver linings. Now, the actions of 2 officers are under review, but there were some veteran officers out there. One in particular positioned that car to film what you saw.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I missed that part of the press conference.
Yeah, well,
but you,
yeah, typically they won't say that.
What
stuff.
I'm getting at is nobody had to ask you for the tape.
Correct.
You, came out with that very quickly.
My belief is that we ought to be transparent and go in front of truly transparent when we do things well and when we do things that are questionable. And the blowback that I get is that, one, why did you release the tape? And the answer to that is because we need to be a legitimate professional organization.
And the cover-up is worse than
Yes. I don't need anybody saying, hey, Chief, did you see this?
Yeah.
I already know that. Mm-hmm. And so I need to bring that forward. The second thing is that, oh, my gosh, and I have to use allegedly because that's what we do. I know how people feel about that, even though he supposedly confessed. But allegedly, this guy was a suspect in killing 3 people and injuring a child, and this guy got what he deserves. Well, I have my personal opinions about that too, but I run a professional police organization, and regardless of the chaos, we have to bring order to disorder. So separate and apart from anything that happened, we can't join into the fray. And my expectation is that our officers respond to chaotic situations in a very organized, methodical way. They're taught to do that, and they're going to be held accountable to do that. And so I need to tell the public that. And people, damned if you do, damned if you don't. Damned if you come forward and say, hey, guys, we messed up. Mm-hmm. This is what we're going to do to clean up. And then damned if you don't say anything when people come knocking on your door and you're trying to cover stuff up. Mm-hmm. And so my belief is to get in front of issues, let the public know what's going on, and maintain the legitimacy that we have as a professional service organization.
And you invited, I guess invited is the wrong word. You asked the FBI to join in on the investigation.
So that people won't say, yeah, right, you're just covering for yourself.
Right.
Come in and look at me. And frankly, if I need to improve and deliver a better service, that's what I'm about. I'm not about friendships. I'm not about partisanship. It's about leadership, and that's what we're going to do.
More with Chief Simpson. If you have a question or comment, the number's 560-5589, 560-KKTX. News Radio 1360, KKTX 823. Corpus Christi Police Chief Floyd Simpson in the box. The number's 560-5589, 560-KKTX. Chief was in Chicago when the shooting on Sunday took place.
Yeah.
And the conference was how to operate your police force after Ferguson.
Yeah, it was put on by the Police Executive Research Forum, which is a think tank for policing, and you've got in one room, Chicago Police Superintendent, Philly, Los Angeles, all major cities in the country, and we just sit around this huge table and. The title of the conference was Defining Moments in Police Departments. And then it was supposedly going to be a one-day seminar, but they added a day, and we discussed how to operate in a post-Ferguson environment.
And then you had an opportunity to try that out.
Yeah.
Even before the conference started. If my memory serves me correctly, you were just checking into the hotel when you got a call.
Yeah, I'm checking in the hotel, and I get a call from Mike Markle, who was the assistant chief, and he's delivering the news of what we thought was a quadruple homicide or murder. And it turned out to be, a triple with, fortunately the child survived. And so we go through this conversation, and, Mike tells me, he's delivering me information. Certainly the information's changing as it goes. And then through our processes, every time there's a use of force issue within CCPD, we have protocols to check to make sure that we're adhering to our policies. We had adequate supervision, and we have adequate training. And all of that goes through a committee. And, when we were doing that in this particular incident, we started discovering, we discovered the video that I released. And so, I had my thoughts on Ferguson. Mm-hmm. And my thoughts were pretty much confirmed at the conference: a lack of community engagement, a lack of diversity in hiring processes, a lack of transparency, and all of those things are brought with me when I assumed the command in the city of Corpus Christi, because I had my share of issues in my prior life there in Dallas. And so I kind of had an idea how I would handle these critical issues, because they certainly can be a defining moment, not only for the police department, but for the city itself. All
right. I watched the video several times. There's only one part that really bothered me. It was the push bar. Hit his head on the push bar.
Sure.
But I have watched those cop shows on television. I have been on ride-alongs. I have heard officers say, "Stop resisting," and the guy is squirming and squirming and squirming. And they say, "I'm not resisting. I'm sorry, but as long as you keep moving, yeah, you are."
Yeah.
Their job is to get control of you.
Yes.
And it seems people who are in that predicament think it's their job to get loose and stand up when there's a situation that you're involved in that everybody wants to make sure you don't have anything on you that can hurt somebody else.
Yes.
And this guy had already proven he's a pretty dangerous person, because he had killed 3 people and wounded a 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
All right. You saw that part, and then the suspect is taken to the police car, and his head is pushed against the push bar.
Yeah. And I won't, this one is under review, and I won't talk about this one particular, because now it's not even my case. We're going to do the administrative piece. But the FBI and the Department of Justice is going to be looking at, the things that they look at. And so let's look at kind of cases, other cases around the country. And the issue is making sure that, we're meeting aggression with the proper response, and then making sure that, again, we bring order to chaotic situations. If any of that makes sense.
No, it makes sense. It's just
I'm tap dancing.
No, you're not. I realize that there's a limit to what you could say, and I'm sure that most of the audience understands that as well.
Yes.
You can't, because people tape the show all the time, and you don't want to hear that
yes.
in court when the family decides we need to be paid for pain and suffering. A triple murder and the wounding of a 10-year-old. You probably saw the video. Some of the comments I thought that were on Channel 6's website could have been, I don't know. I just thought some of that language was uncalled for.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the comments, I think, were frankly made by people who are uninformed. And the issue is that as a professional, you've got to be able to separate. There are two incidents there.
Mm-hmm. Either made by someone who's ill-informed or somebody who's got a long criminal background.
Yes.
News Radio 1360, KKTX 835. Chief Floyd Simpson in the box. You have a question or comment. The number is 560-5589. 560-KKTX. I stopped for lunch yesterday, and somebody stopped by. I was eating at the bar at Water Street, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I had this guy stop. He said, "Hey, is the chief going to be on your show tomorrow morning?" I said, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" He said, "Well, you know, this whole embarrassing thing." I said, "Well, you know, I've never known Chief Simpson to be bashful about too much of anything."
Yeah.
And to your credit, you're here today. So it never crossed my mind that you wouldn't be.
Sure.
I have, maybe I see this differently. Whether it's excessive force, is that what they're calling it? Not police brutality. The Channel 6 has a place where you can vote.
Okay.
You're running 62% say yes, 36% say no.
Yeah.
38%.
And I don't know what any of that means, but in regard to the embarrassing moments, my view is, first of all, I'm in the realm of leadership.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stick my head in the sand, and I'm more of a humble guy, but I got to tell you, I have a list of experiences police chiefing, and this is not my first rodeo. And so you'll never find me putting my head in the sand about anything, particularly when it comes to leading my department in a direction that I know it ought to go. And then the second thing is that that poll is kind of that poll. I don't put much stock in that, and it's yet to be determined if the response from those particular officers was excessive or not.
The rest of the carnage, I guess, is as good a way of putting it. There's shootings, more of those.
Yes.
Stabbing, just regular beating on each other, and
a lot of drinking and a lot of drug doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
And a testament, sometimes I think, to us having way too much time on our hands, because we just have a tendency to imbibe too much.
Yep.
That's why I was kind of curious about that whole Anheuser-Busch thing when they were requesting people calm down, and they're very upset with the NFL. And I'm thinking, you go on a ride-along,
yes,
and you will find some of those Anheuser-Busch products.
Yeah. Did you hear what Blake said when he went on his ride-along? That virtually every call he went to, there was some sort of drug
or alcohol
at the core, drug or alcohol at the core of the issue, whether it was a stabbing, cutting, or shooting, or a family disturbance, or a bar fight. You could find drugs or alcohol at the core, which greatly contributed to the situation that those officers have to deal with day in and day out. So, all is not lost. Through all of this, we still have a 2% reduction in crime when you look at where we are this year versus last year. And we still have crime trends over a 20-year time period that are trending down. What is sensational is the coverage that we get. I can't run away from the fact that I've got 6 more homicides this year than I had last year. So we're at 19 this year versus 13 last year. But when you look at other violent crime categories, we're trending down with the exception of the category of rape. And part of the rape issue is that a few years back, we changed our definition of rape.
Really?
And so it used to be just, vaginal penile, man on woman, and now it includes, man on man objects and all types of things. And so that definition has been expanded, which means we're capturing a lot more offenses. And then when you look at the homicides, I think I've said this before, Jim. We just had the triple, then we had the double with the kids, and so we had these single occurrences with multiple complainants, and that's been problematic for us. But overall, our property crime is down, which is a good thing, and your overall crime is down about 2%.
All right. Let me get back to the conference you went to in Chicago and how police organizations move forward after Ferguson, Missouri.
Yes.
The riots and the things that go on. Were there any representatives there from Ferguson?
Not from the city of Ferguson. However, there were representatives from city of St. Louis and St. Louis County. And they had Ferguson is 12 miles away from St. Louis. And so they've been engaged in the ongoings there in the city of Ferguson because, all hands on deck, they need help from surrounding cities.
Okay, you guys are in a one big room?
One big room there at the Swiss Hotel in Chicago, which is a pretty sizable hotel, and one big room with major city police chiefs from all around the country, and people they need to realize that our city is the 67th largest city in the country.
Right.
So we're a major city.
So you have people that are scheduled to speak?
Yes. So what we do is we have a facilitator, and the facilitator will go around the room and everybody will talk. And so, it's kind of like grade school. You can't hide. They're going to call on you, and they're going to ask you kind of things that are going on in your city. And then we had a pretty lively discussion about Ferguson and post-Ferguson.
I don't know how to phrase this without Did the incident of did somebody say, look, there are some people in society that look for excuses to go out and get stuff?
Sure.
So that came up.
Absolutely. I think you and I talked about Ferguson occurred, so I'm going to go and get some 22-inch rims.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about that and how to respond to that, and a lot of that came, post Katrina. How to suppress that and keep that from occurring. But you've got to get a grip on things, and one of the big failings that we talked about is just the things that I mentioned earlier: lack of community engagement on the front end before your Ferguson before that occurs. You've got to pay attention to diversity issues in your agency. You've got to pay attention to what the community is saying.
Do you think that really would have helped? Because I saw the policeman. He looked kind of like this guy. Yep. I mean, one side of his face was just crushed.
Sure,
and nobody really cared.
Yeah, and I
see the evidence, but never mind. Don't bother me with facts.
I get all of that, But see, you've got to be able to compartmentalize things, and you've got to be able to talk about and address things that happen before the actual event occurred.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what are you doing to engage your community? What are you doing to be able to call upon your community when a critical incident occurs, so that you can quell somebody going to get the 22-inch rims?
Who was it who decided we're not going to release the picture of the police officer?
Oh, I'm sure, just like
the FBI. Was it?
No. That's the chief. Yeah, just like with the issue that we have with the press conference, that was my decision to go out front
release
and
the
do
tape.
that. Absolutely.
All right. Let me get a phone call here. Cindy, good morning. Welcome to Lago in the morning, and thank you for the call.
Good morning.
Morning.
I have two questions. This idea about parking cars on the street instead of blocking the sidewalk.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that, and I think that's great, except that I have more cars than my driveway will hold, which is only 2. I have 2 cars in the garage because I have kids that drive.
Mm-hmm.
I live on a school zone, so in the morning we reduce traffic to 1 lane because I'm parked on the street.
Yes.
And my car's been hit twice since it parks on the street.
Mm-hmm.
Not a good idea, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, have you called our parking control people to come out and offer some suggestions?
No. Why would I? I thought we had to park on the street.
We can. Well, I'm trying to offer you a solution. And
okay, what is it?
Well, it's a violation to block the sidewalk.
So it's more important that the sidewalk be open, but my car can be hit on the street, and we can reduce traffic, which is very unsafe as far as I'm concerned. But what do I know?
Maybe we should change the law.
Well, maybe we should consider something, maybe a time frame or something.
Yeah.
Instead of always having to be parked on the street.
What would the traffic?
That's why I'm asking if you would like someone could come out and maybe come across a solution and look at your issue.
That'd be great.
Yeah. So if you would give Sam your number, I'll have somebody call you.
Okay. I have one other question before you go.
Yes, ma'am.
This weekend, my daughter was hit by an uninsured, unlicensed driver.
Yes, ma'am.
In a parking lot,
mm-hmm.
and he wouldn't give us any information. The police did come, and he did get an expired driver's license from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I told the police officer, I said, "So what? He's going to skip away, and we pay for the damage to her car."
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "Well, we're in a parking lot, And I said, "So he's going to drive out of this parking lot with an uninsured car?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "No, I'm going to make him park it." And I said, "And when you leave, what do you think is going to happen?"
Mm-hmm.
He said, "Well, when he gets on the street, we'll impound it." I said, "And we know you don't have time to sit here and wait." And he said, "Well, you're right." And so he left, and 15 minutes later, the guy got in his truck and drove away.
Yeah, if it's on a private park, see, we have to operate within a certain set of rules. And I just can't take property away from people. I don't think you want me to do that. And if it's,
I'm not saying that, but there should be something here.
Well,
my daughter's going to have to pay to have her car fixed, and he's going to scoot away and that's the way it is.
I get what you're saying, but I'm trying to explain what we can and can't do.
All right.
I'm sorry about that, but that's I've got to operate within the law.
I'm just saying it seems like he, at the very least, should have gotten a ticket or something. He got nothing. I mean, he got in his truck and drove away as though nothing had happened.
Yep.
And
you said it was in a private parking lot?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that's the difference. If it was on,
I understand that. I do understand that.
Yes,
but
ma'am.
I'm just saying it's
I know
private parking lot or not.
No, it's frustrating.
Yeah, I agree with you,
is.
and I agree with you. And mind you, I drive on the streets, and I've been hit, and I had to do. I was same boat as you. My insurance had to cover. I get that, and it ticks me off, frankly, too.
Well,
but there's only so much that we can do.
He's driving an uninsured. Forget the license. He's driving an uninsured car in a parking lot on the street, which he had to be on the street to get to the parking lot.
Yes, ma'am.
So to me, it just doesn't seem right.
Preaching to the choir, and everyone that I can come across that doesn't have insurance, I tow them, and we sell a lot of cars at the end of the month.
Every month. Yes. I appreciate the call, Cindy. Thank you. News Radio 1360 KKTX. Chief Floyd Simpson in the box. The number's 560-5589-560 KKTX. Buddy, good morning. Welcome to Lago in the Morning, and thank you for the call.
Good morning, Joe. Jim, sorry about that.
That's all right.
There's a couple of questions for the chief.
Yes, sir.
One is about this militarization of police forces.
Yes, sir.
I've been quite a bit of stuff for that here lately, but all I've ever seen is, it looks like a black jacket on steroids. These guys have something to protect themselves.
Yes, sir.
I see no mounted cannons or 50 caliber machine guns or anything like that.
Yes, sir.
And I'm wondering if that's true. Is this just for protection, or could you guys actually attack an enemy stronghold or something like that?
Yeah, you bring up a great point, and that was actually one of the points of our conference, militarization of police forces. And, of course, we've all heard about governmental surplus, particularly in times after war and that. And they have all this stuff, and police can apply to get it. I can tell you here in the city of Corpus Christi, we don't have any of that stuff. What we do have that we got from the military are honor guard rifles, and they don't even shoot. And so we only use those for ceremonial reasons. But, some police departments believe that they need that stuff. Far be it from me to, second guess that particular city or police chief. But I can tell you here in the city of Corpus Christi, we don't have any of that stuff.
Okay, that explains it. And the other question I had for you was about the Harbor Bridge. I personally don't think we need one, but we're going to have one anyway. And I've heard you say, I believe it was you, who said that you've seen people on the Harbor Bridge going 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, yes, that was the highest speed that we have since we've been doing this extra speed enforcement. We had a guy coming over that bridge at 100 miles an hour. Okay,
I just thought that was maybe, not a reason to build a bridge, just give them someplace to go even faster. But I'm sure you arrested him and took care of it.
Yes, sir. We took care of that one. Thank you for your call.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Joe, good morning. Welcome to Lago in the Morning.
Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, I just jumped off the freeway, and I had a county police officer in an unmarked car pass me doing probably twice my speed. And I'm getting off the freeway at 45. What do we do about guys like that?
Well, I don't know if he's on his way somewhere.
No, he's going to the office. He's headed for the office. I just got off there at Flyer Bluff.
Yeah.
Followed him down to Compton.
Yeah.
Office and pulled in. I mean, I'm sure he was late for work, but that don't cause him to just drive like a maniac.
I agree.
What do we do about guys like that?
Well, that's a county issue, and we'll
in the city, ain't he?
Well, let me finish.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're right. I'm sorry.
There are times that we pull those guys over, and we'll issue tickets when they're necessary, and we'll contact their particular agency. So,
how does a person like me do a citizen's report on him?
If the car grab the tag number.
No, he's too fast.
Yeah, you need to have some identifying method of finding out who it is, and they'll take care of it.
It's an unmarked car pulling in their parking lot. That's how far I followed him off the freeway to the parking lot.
Contact the county and make your complaint.
I didn't want to pull in behind him and just sit there and ride down a plate.
Okay. Have yourself a Bluebell Country Day.